Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this episode of Think Business. Really excited to be talking to CEO Kirsty, Verity, co-founder of Real Coaching. Kirsty, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to talk to you because I've been curious about this for a long time. You have sold over 17 million in physical products on Amazon since 2013 and have coached over 1,000 Amazon sellers to build their business on Amazon. And I've often thought, and I was sharing this with you quickly before we went on air, my service is me, right? So I'm the product, and or my book is the product, or my group coaching is the product. But I've often thought to myself, if my brother and I came up with a product and sold it on Amazon, how would we do that? I just haven't had time to even research it or look into it. But I just will sometimes because I see all these products selling really, really well on Amazon. So I'm looking forward to talking to you so the Think community can learn a little bit about it. So welcome to the show, Kirsty. I appreciate you being here. Let's dive into what makes a good product for Amazon.
Yeah, so I think exactly what you just said. I think a lot of people think about what products are going to sell. And the great thing is that there's already hundreds of thousands of products that are already selling, right?
Yeah.
And so a very similar way to how you might think about products off of Amazon, we think first about the customer, the person who's going to buy the product, what their needs are, but then also, what's the market opportunity? And the great thing about Amazon is that there's so many tools out there that actually tell you what each product is actually selling. So for instance, what we like to do is first off think about, well, if I want to build a business, rather than just focus on the product itself, who do I actually want to market to? What's going to make me happy? What kind of area? Not necessarily, you don't have to have burning passion, but just something that you're interested in, that always helps, right? So say for me, that was fitness. I was into kind of CrossFit at the time. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to focus in that area and have a look. And so that's what I did. I looked at fitness products that were going to be easy enough for me to source, but then also that wasn't going to cost me a lot when it comes to shipping and all that kind of stuff. So that was my criteria. And then what I did was just look for those types of products on Amazon and then use a tool essentially that'll tell me this is what I could expect. This is how much, if I got X amount of market share, this is what I could expect to sell. And so that's kind of a very sort of simplistic way, but it's really good because what that means is that you can actually target how many units you're going to sell. And then you're able to then look at the competitive set and then say, well, what pricing should I be at? And then also build your costs and all your structure around those things. So how much then money you're going to make from that product. Because that's what sometimes we have great ideas and we think that everybody wants this because it's a great idea. But then, no one wants to buy it, right? Amazon.
Well, I just want to say this, that's, I think, the one of the first rules of business. If you have a product or service, make sure somebody wants to buy it before you invest too much in it, right?
Exactly. And Amazon's an awesome marketplace for research as well. So if you think about, say, for instance, so my first product was a jump rope. So I looked at all the different types of jump ropes that were selling. And then what I did was actually then look at the competitors and see their good reviews and their kind of not so good reviews and see what was missing. And so by doing that, you're able to then kind of build something into the product that, a lot of people say on all your main competitors that is missing. And you can build that into your offering, whether that be the product itself, it might be a service on the back of the product, whatever it is that they feel like's missing. And that gives you an edge over the competition as well. Yeah. So it's kind of, a lot of those times when we're looking for products, even if you want to design a product, not sell it on Amazon, it's a great research platform just to see how people are interacting with the current products on the market as well, because it's all laid out there for you.
Talk to me about price points on Amazon. I mean, I buy pretty much everything on Amazon. I would say 95% of what I buy. I may have said Facebook earlier when I was introing you, but I meant Amazon. But I buy 95% of everything on Amazon. And so what are those ideal sweet spot purchases? Is it $20? Is it $47.97? Like, what is that price point? Of course there's products and then there's like a certain price of things. So I know that's a difficult question because it depends on the product. People can buy a car on Amazon, I think. But what is that kind of that sweet spot where, the cost of goods isn't too high. The margins and the profitability are there, and it's that price point that people do buy. Is there any science behind that?
Yeah, well, I would say it's more experience and science, but yeah, I definitely between the $20 to $30 price point, because you've got something that people, it's almost like a no-brainer to buy.
That's
right?
Yeah, the no-brainer buy. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of volume in that marketplace, and volume also means obviously cash flow for you as a business owner.
Yeah.
But it also means that the more volume that you sell, the higher the rankings that you go on Amazon, which it's kind of like this symbiotic relationship, right? Because the more you sell, the more Amazon will actually put you at the top of the rankings for the main keywords, which is how you get visibility on Amazon. In the same way you want to rank a website on Google, the more people that go to that website, spend some time there.
Right.
Purchase on Amazon is the same, and that's what you want to achieve with each product, is being at the top on that page one for the main buying keywords that people will type into Amazon to buy that thing.
Yeah. All right. I love it. All right. So now let's dive into a little bit about you. So you've worked with over 1,000 Amazon sellers to build their businesses. So what is the secret sauce that you teach them, Kirsty? Don't give it all away, but give enough to, today. So, maybe people pick up the phone and call you, but what is it that you teach them?
Yeah, so a little bit about that process that we just talked about there, in terms of making sure that, number one, you're building a business that you actually want to stay in. Number two, that you're finding products, what we call with the right numbers, because this is a problem that a lot of people get into, is they're really focused on the product. Like I said, they don't fully understand what the sales targets are going to be, what the cash flow is going to be back from that product. And they don't understand what all the marketing is around the product to be able to keep you in those rankings, and the cost of that. So what we do is we actually work through all of those things before you even put any money down on a product. Mm-hmm. And what that does is that gets people into the business side of it, the numbers side of it, so that they actually know how much money they're going to make and when they're going to make it. So one key thing, and this is, I suppose this just comes back to my background before I got into Amazon, but one key thing that we always focus on first is what income do they want to make? What lifestyle choices do they want? Because, it's very different to build a $10 million business to building a business that gives you an extra $1,000 a month, right? Yeah. It's a different way to build it. But one or the other is not right or wrong. It's just, what do you want to build? And I think a lot of people get sucked into, oh my God, I can be a millionaire selling on Amazon, which you can, but obviously there's more investment involved, more time involved, more people, all that stuff.
Right. It's still a business, regardless of the platform, which may be online, but Amazon is still a platform that you still have to run the business. You still have to run a business. It's Absolutely. One vehicle of how you can sell your products and your services. I find a lot of times, and so a lot of the people that I interview on the show will say, you can go to my website and buy my product, or you can go to Amazon and buy the product, or this, that, and the other. But you still need to, like you said, have a product or a service that people want to buy. You have to, have proper marketing, proper packaging. I mean, everything that is appealing. And so when you're looking at that, are your clients people who do this full time? Is it people who do a side, kind of a side hustle? Do they do it, as a side gig to see how it takes off, and then maybe kind of do it full time? Like, who are your clientele?
Yeah, usually it's people that start that way. So they want it to be a long-term business. They've got the ambition to leave their kind of corporate job or 9 to 5, whatever that is at that point in time. But they're kind of going to it tentatively, right? They're not all in at first, which I think is a good mindset to have, but they're kind of trying it out. And so ideally we work with people that have either got to that stage, or even people that want to start the business, right? So, but generally with people, we usually end up with people that have started it and they've tried some kind of free training, they've gone onto YouTube, that type of thing, or maybe they've done some free courses, but they've kind of got to that point, a certain point, and they've got stuck and they don't really know where to go from there. Yeah. But generally they want an extra side income that will grow one day into a full-time gig.
Yeah. What are the biggest stucks that people run into when starting an Amazon business? I would think one is, like you said earlier, they think it's easy, it's going to go viral, they're going to, overnight success, and that's just kind of not how business is ever.
Yeah.
And so, what are some of the stucks that you see people get almost too stuck in?
Yeah. Number one is picking the products. It's like a mental block, right? So a lot of people, they get stuck there and even stop. They're like, it's too much of a hard decision to make, which is why we go fully into the numbers to kind of make it a no-brainer. It's going to work. So that's number one. Number two, they miscalculate the numbers that we talked about. And so they don't realize that they're actually not making any money. So a lot of people, they can get sales because Amazon's such a great platform. Like you said, you buy on Amazon every day, pretty much every day. So there's lots of people buying there and they will buy your product. But if you haven't, again, got the right numbers, then you could be spending a lot of money on inventory and always having your money tied up in inventory. And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I not getting any money in my bank account? Because they haven't worked out those numbers properly and understanding the investment that it takes. So those are sort of two key areas. Another area is even inventory management itself, because there's longer lead times. A lot of people buy products from China, from India, and especially at the moment, with COVID, the lead times have got longer, the shipping lead times are longer. And so people don't think about those things. They just kind of think, great, I'll put my order in and a week later it's going to be on Amazon. But there's, a big time frame involved in that. And if their product takes off, they haven't fully worked out the lead times on that, then they can be out of stock. And then they have to relaunch their products again. So every time it's a massive cost, because if you're not making those sales, you slip down the rankings and then you have to do the whole launch all over again.
Right. Right. No, and like kind of like the undercurrent of what we're talking about, running it as a real business.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly right.
Right. And so, how does Amazon Prime work when it comes to these businesses? Because I would think that there's an extra cost involved to be able to provide the Prime.
Yeah, so the business model, if anyone's heard of this, it's called FBA, Amazon FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon, which basically means that you put your products into Amazon's warehouse and they do all that work. So they ship it to the customer, etc., which gives you as a seller Prime status, which basically means that as a customer, as a Prime member, what you're looking for is very quick turnaround. So if I place my order, if I'm a Prime member, I want it to be there in the next day or 2 days, right? Or even the next hour, depending on what city you're in. And if you're an FBA, Amazon FBA seller, you have access to those customers, which basically what that means from a customer perspective and a conversion perspective is that you're likely to get more conversion because there are so many Prime members and people want stuff quick. They don't want to wait 2 weeks.
Correct.
So there could be a lot of sellers, say, based in China or overseas that are not using Amazon FBA. And as a customer, I have to wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks for my product to get there. Well, I'm going to cancel that and go for the Prime member. So that's one. But yes, you do pay for that. You pay for warehousing costs. You pay also for a referral fee from Amazon. So in the same way that you might sell on Facebook, for instance, or pay for traffic to come to your website, Amazon's kind of built that into their costs. And that's a 15% referral fee because they're doing all that hard work, basically advertising all over the place to get customers to come and buy on their platform. And they kind of pass on 15% of your sales price to you as the privilege, if you like, to sell on Amazon. Now, that to me is kind of cool as a seller because it means that you don't pay them until you sell. Right, so for every it's like a commission rate for everything that you sell.
Yeah.
Then you pay. So you don't have any massive upfront costs to Amazon, other than it's like $40 a month to be a professional seller on there just to use their back end platform. So FBA really, or Prime, means as a seller, you pay for warehousing costs through Amazon. They're called FBA fees. They're based on the size of the product, the weight of the product. But again, you can find all of those costs out before you even place an order. That's another key cost factor that we make sure that people factor in as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. It's, to me, what I love about the coaching that you're talking about that you do, again, you're the CEO and co-founder of Real Coaching, is that you're not making, you're giving, a full outline of all the expenses, and that I think is key. And so I love it. All right, let's talk about you. You know, in your bio, you talked about how you radically changed your life from corporate marketing to multi-million-dollar entrepreneur. So what was that jump like? Why were you done with, you know, corporate, world, and decided to kind of jump into the entrepreneurial world?
Yeah, I just got to that stage where I'd kind of been going up in the ranks, if you like. But the problem with that is that you just end up doing all the crap that no one wants to do, right? So you end up kind of sandwiched in the middle between shareholders, CEOs, and then a team of people that, you know, were my team, which were awesome people. But you end up kind of like just filtering information. And also a lot of that filtering of information was stuff that I didn't fundamentally believe in. Not that they were doing anything bad or anything. It was just in terms of strategically, I felt we should be doing more of this. And then to please shareholders and all this other stuff, there's different, objectives and priorities. So I kind of got to that point where I was just getting so frustrated with it. And I was just like, there's no way I want to do this how am I going to do this for another 30 years, right? It just didn't make any sense. So I just started to look for different things. And the other key thing for me was that I love to travel. So you can probably tell I'm British. I actually moved to Australia. I emigrated to Australia. I was there for like 14, 15 years before I did this. And I really love to travel. And I traveled around Asia. I've traveled around Central Europe, all this other stuff. So that was another area of my life that I was like, yeah, if I continue on this path, I'm just going to get more and more bogged down in working and not living. And so I started to look for something that would give me the lifestyle. I read the 4-Hour Work Week, like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
4-Hour Work Week. Yeah. Great book. Yeah.
So I was like, the key point for me from that book was design whatever you're going to do around the lifestyle that you want to lead. And so that's what I started to do, is to find something that allowed me to do that. And I tried lots of different things, but really Amazon was the kind of the culmination of what made sense. Like I could do it from anywhere in the world as long as I had a laptop and Wi-Fi. And also Amazon, because they do all that back end stuff, I don't have to figure out, all the kind of logistics. I just have to figure out the stuff that I was actually already good at, because I was in corporate marketing, is building brands, physical products, finding suppliers, and marketing. And so that made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a burning desire to be an entrepreneur and change the world at this point. It was me, right? It was all about me. It was about how can I make a change in my life and find something that's going to give me the vehicle to do what I want, basically.
Yeah. I think we're seeing a lot of people, especially, we're 14 months now or so into COVID. I think we're seeing a lot of people who are saying, you know what? I'm going to make some shifts, and this is the lifestyle I want, and I'm going to back into the business. Then I think we're seeing a lot of that. And so I think your business is going to continue to grow and get more and more people attracted to it. Again, going back to just the fundamentals of business, you still have to be ready to run and start and understand P&Ls and do your beta research on what people will buy and things of that nature, because just because it's on Amazon doesn't mean it's going to be a success.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we move into a quick speed round, Kirsty, tell everybody again kind of who your ideal clients are.
Yeah. So ideal client is essentially someone who probably, already has a business potentially on Amazon or selling physical products, or want to get into doing this on a longer term basis, right? So even though we work with people that want to get into a side hustle, ideally what we want them to be really thinking about is, how am I going to build this out to actually replace my income that I currently have and run this business full time, so that basically they can change their life. And so we really want to help people. Our real mission is to help people to do that, do what I did, do what my co-founder Isaac did as well, is completely change the trajectory that they're on and take control of their own financial freedom.
I love it. All right, good. Ready for a quick speed round?
Yep.
All right. Favorite book and why?
The One Thing, because it's really just focused on the one thing.
That's great. That's a great book. And another great one up that's in that same kind of theme is called Essentialism. I don't know if you've read Essentialism.
Yeah, I have.
Another great book. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Keep doing stuff until you don't like it anymore.
Yeah, I've lived my life like that. I do it. My end goal was always to do what I'm doing now, be a business coach, write books, keynotes, train, one-on-one coaching, group coaching. I mean, that was always my thing. But along the way, I did careers and, for 6 years here, 6 years here, 6 years here. And so I didn't like it anymore. And then I had time to kind of go on. So I love that advice. Simple and yet sometimes very complicated. Finish this sentence. One thing everybody needs to do to make sure that they have the right product they want to sell or idea is?
Numbers.
Yeah,
just basically what we talked about. And also understand what the need is for the person who's going to buy it. So you got to understand that. And then you got to understand, is it going to make you any money?
Yeah, no, I love everything you're talking about. I just want to kind of highlight a couple of the things you've been talking about, which is, numbers and making sure you have a business and really understanding a lot of the things that you talked about. No matter what the business is, this business that you are helping people with are how to start, run, and or grow their current Amazon, their current Amazon business. And so I think it's really important to get the proper guidance and coaching if you're going to dive into this, because I don't think things like this, you can wing it. I think sometimes people think they can wing it because it seems like it should quote unquote be easy because the platform is there, but it takes a lot of reverse engineering. It takes a lot of strategy. It takes a lot of, making sure that you not only have the right products, but the product that people will buy and it's priced right. And like you talked about, understanding all of the nitty gritty expenses so you don't end the month making no money. So yeah.
I would say as well, I think a lot of people are very smart people, right? And so they think, well, I'm smart, I can figure this out. And there's no doubt that you could. It's just, why wait all that time to figure it out? We've been doing it for nearly 8 years now, made tons of mistakes, right? And so we've learned from those mistakes so that you don't have to make them.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're teaching experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like, as a business coach, I teach experience, and you teach experience. And so one of the things I say to my clients, which reminds me as you're talking, is, you can do this yourself. It may take you X amount of months or X amount of years, and I can help you accelerate it by, guiding you to where you need to go to faster, more effectively. So it's the same thing with you. So I appreciate that thought. Tell people how they can connect with you.
Yeah, so you can come to our website, which I think is going on the ticker tape at the bottom. So goteamreal.com. We have some free training on there as well, so that you can get an idea about how it works and also some of the mistakes that we just kind of talked about. And then you can also email me at kirstyverity@goteamreal.com. And one thing that I like to do is, if you're thinking about getting into it, or you're already in it, or maybe you've got another business you want to bring on Amazon, we'll kind of start first with what goal do you want to achieve, and then I can kind of reverse engineer how many products it's going to take you to get there, and the type of metrics it's going to take, or what you should look out for in terms of the products.
I love it. I love what you're doing. And I love the free training and providing all that value to people. I think it's critical. Think Community. You can also download my book or my ebook at johndwaskin.com for free. In spirit of the free training. Kirsty, I appreciate it. Kirsty, this was great. I appreciate taking time teaching the Think Community about how to use Amazon to sell products online and build a business. Think Community, if Kirsty can help you, please reach out. GoTeamReal.com. Kirsty, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.